So in this video, I'll be comparing the Dark Brotherhood Sanctuaries in Oblivion and Skyrim. So to start off with Oblivion, the Sanctuary is located in the middle of Cheydinhal, in an abandoned house that most of the residents of Cheydinhal seem to be aware is a little bit off. One of the members of the Dark Brotherhood inside of the Sanctuary will actually comment that the Count of Cheydinhal is very aware that the Dark Brotherhood has a sanctuary underneath the abandoned house, but he's being paid with money and other incentives to keep his mouth shut.
I've heard the Count of Cheydinhal knows about this sanctuary, but he is offered much gold as well as other incentives to keep his mouth shut.
The Dark Brotherhood in this game is not only feared, but respected. As you make your way down into the basement of the abandoned house, you'll find the black door to the Dark Brotherhood Sanctuary. The surrounding area is rather ominous, with bones scattered about, and a red hue over everything. Upon trying to enter the door, it will ask you a question.
What is the color of night?
And upon giving the correct answer of sanguine, my brother, you are permitted entrance to the Dark Brotherhood Sanctuary. You are then greeted by Ochiva, the leader of the Cheydinhal Sanctuary. She will tell you which family member to go to get contracts, and answer any questions you may have about the Dark Brotherhood.
Welcome you to the Dark Brotherhood. You stand now in our sanctuary. May it serve as your new home, a place of comfort and security whenever the need arises. When you're ready for work, go and speak with Vicente Valtieri. He handles all assignments for new family members. But before you go, please accept this gift from your new family. A unique set of armor, lighter than normal leather and black as the void.
The layout is pretty simple, in sort of a cross formation. Straight ahead is Ochiva's quarters, as well as Vincente's. And on either side, you have a training room and a living quarters, both behind load doors. There is also a secret door concealed by the well outside of the abandoned house, to allow you quicker access to the sanctuary itself. The architecture of the sanctuary is very similar to every other ruined fort in Cyrodiil. It's simple, and you can't really get lost in it. As for the characters here, they are mostly friendly. You have Antonetta, who dreams of eventually taking over the position that Ochiva has.
So good to finally meet you. I hope you're getting along all right.
You have Ochiva and her twin brother, both of which are shadow scales.
I welcome you to our family and this sanctuary. May you find yourself at home here in the loving embrace of Our Lady, the Night Mother.
There's Talandro, who joined the Dark Brotherhood after her father tried to have her murdered by the Dark Brotherhood itself.
My father wanted me dead, and he hired the Dark Brotherhood to do it. I escaped from Lucian, and paid my father back for his treachery.
Then there's Gogren, who is a rather enthusiastic orc.
Welcome to the family. I'd hug you, but Ochiva told me not to.
He doesn't really seem to understand anything about the Dark Brotherhood, but he enjoys murder, so he fits right in.
I don't know who the Night Mother is, but she pays me to kill people. My own mother should have loved me so much.
And then there's Mirage Dar, a Khajiit who really does not like the player.
If it isn't the newest member of the family, let's get one thing straight. The tenants prevent me from killing you, but I don't have to like you.
And then there's Vincente. He is who you will be getting your contracts from when you first start. He is also of the Empire, and has been for the past 300 years.
Warmest greetings to you. I trust you've already spoken with Ochiva. I am Vicente Valtieri. I provide assignments for all new family members. Please do not let my appearance unnerve you. The needs and tenets of the Dark Brotherhood come before my own needs as a vampire.
The living quarters and training area are really nothing special. You can find the NPCs roaming around there at different times of the day. The sanctuary overall is small but homey, or at least as homey as a den full of murderers can be. Now moving on to Skyrim, there are technically 2 sanctuaries that the player can interact with, but we are only going to cover the one west of Falkreath, because it is the majority of the questline. The location of the Black Door is really nothing special in Skyrim. If it wasn't for the unique nature of the door itself, you could mistake it as just another cave entrance. That being said, when the player does attempt to interact with the door, they will again get asked a similar question as the one in Oblivion.
What is the music of life?
Upon answering with "Silence, my brother," the player will be permitted entrance to the sanctuary. You will immediately notice that the architecture is exactly the same as every other cave or dungeon in Skyrim. A little ways in, you will find Astrid standing in a doorway. She will welcome you to the sanctuary, tell you who to get contracts from, and answer any questions you may have about the Dark Brotherhood. Most notably, she will tell you that the Night Mother is being brought to the sanctuary from Cyrodiil.
Soon the Night Mother will arrive, and things around here are sure to get even more interesting.
And that there aren't really rules because the Dark Brotherhood stopped following the 5 tenets many years ago.
Used to be the Dark Brotherhood was bound by 5 tenets, but we stopped following those years ago.
The layout of the sanctuary is quite frankly an absolute mess, with just tunnels leading everywhere. There are central rooms, of course, but everything is rather spread out. And there aren't exactly living quarters like the one in Oblivion. Everyone kind of has their own room. When you first enter what might be called the Great Room of the sanctuary, you'll find all the members standing around telling stories about their previous contracts. This is a nice touch, I do admit.
Sweetie, like a sweetie? Oh yes, how about some chocolate? Oh yes, please, kind sir. My mama and papa left me all alone, and I'm so very hungry. I know a shortcut to the candy shop, through this alley. Oh yeah, very good, very good. Mine's dark down here. Oh, but you're so beautiful. Such a lovely smile. Your teeth! No!
No, Babette, but you are so wicked.
What about you, Festus? How did that last contract turn out?
Oh, yes, please, old man. Regale us with your tales of wizardry.
Ah, the young and stupid. Always mocking the experienced and brilliant. My contract went very well, I'll have you know. Tried a new spell. Little something I've been working on in my spare time. Came this close to turning that priest inside out. Damn messy.
And what of your latest, Arnbjorn? Something about a Khajiit. Merchant, was it?
Oh, a big doggy chasing a little kitty. How adorable.
I am not adorable. It was not funny, and he wasn't a merchant. He was a Khajiit monk, a master of the Whispering Fang style. But now he's dead, and I have a new loincloth.
After all the members are done with this heavily scripted sequence, they all go off to their separate rooms, where you can then ask each individual member about themselves.
Once I was a Shadow Scale, an assassin in service to the King of Blackmarsh, trained by the Dark Brotherhood since the day of my hatching.
Ah, well, I'm Redguard, as I'm sure you've noticed. Though not like most of my kind you'll find in Skyrim. That's for damn sure.
I like to say I was born with a wand in my hand. Well, not literally. You could see how painful that would have been for Mother. But I was a prodigy, casting simple spells by 1, completing complex incantations by 3, resurrecting corpses by 7. Ah!
What a curious question. Well, I enjoy moonlit nights, taking long walks on the beach, knitting, and unicorns. In fact, I once took a seaside stroll on a moonlit night and discovered a unicorn, which I proceeded to stab in the throat with a crochet needle.
I'm just a little girl. The Dark Brotherhood killed my mama and papa, and then they took me captive. Please, please help me. Rather convincing, don't you think?
Look, if you're trying to get to know me, don't. I don't like you, and I never will. It's nothing personal.
These characters, in my opinion, are unfortunately underdeveloped and downright boring. I feel Bethesda leaned heavily into the fact that they have a child vampire, an old wizard, and a werewolf. All of this, in my opinion, is meant to reinforce the very Skyrim idea that you can be a character that can be anyone and do anything in any guild line. Festus, of course, representing the College of Winterhold. He even talks about how he taught there at one point in his life. Arnbjorn, of course, representing the Companions. Side note, that entire questline is an absolute disgrace. We'll get to that in another episode, though. And then there's Babette, the child vampire. And while Skyrim does not technically have a vampire guild line, well, at least until the Dawnguard DLC, Bethesda has a fascination with vampires in their games. They were also happy about having children in an Elder Scrolls game for the first time ever. And of course, they wanted to find a way to make that dark, which is commendable, but feels rather shoehorned in. Further reinforcing the idea that the player can do anything, Astrid even talks about how the player can go and see the Thieves Guild in Riften to erase part of their bounty.
But there is another option. Some members of the Thieves Guild in Riften can get their bounties erased for a price. Something to think about.
You could argue this makes the world feel more alive because the guilds are aware of each other. But at the same time, it feels very forced. Furthermore, right behind this little gathering, there is a word wall, further reinforcing the idea that the player is the Dragonborn. It's okay to be segmented. Artificially tying things together like this does not create a more believable world. It creates an uneasy, artificial feeling that feels very linear. It is damn near impossible to make it through a playthrough of Skyrim without hearing about and joining each of the guilds, which should not be the case. Overall, the Sanctuary is fine, I suppose, but it doesn't feel homey. It doesn't feel like this is a family of assassins. It feels very segmented. It feels very forced. All this, of course, is just my opinion. Let me know what you think. Thanks for watching. I'll see you tomorrow.